Let me tell you about ProHealthConnect.com. It's transforming healthcare payments, providing retailers a seamless process for over-the-counter and healthy benefit programs. By connecting retailers, health plans, and payment processors, ProHealth Connect creates one powerful, unified network. They empower independent grocers and pharmacies to accept health benefit cards without changing how they do business. With over 10,000 locations nationwide, helping more than 1.3 million people access the care and nutrition they need. Go to ProHealthConnect.com.
And with us now, Dominic Carter.
Let's see you acknowledge a man whose words make your blood boil, who's standing center stage and advocating at the top of his lungs that which you would spend a lifetime opposing at the top of yours.
Dominic, I want to say, when we started calling around in New York City last week to find out who would have their finger on this story, you were the person who was most often mentioned, and that's why we asked you to be with us this morning. So what do you hear? What do you know? How is this thing going to come out?
Now, here's Dominic Carter on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
And the number to reach me, and the phone lines are open right now. Dominic Carter here with you, 800-848-9222. I come on the air tonight with a very heavy heart.
Late at night when all the world is sleeping, I stay up and think of you. And I still can't believe that you came up to me and said, I love you. I love you too. Now I'm dreaming.
We gather here today in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, and this is the most iconic venue of venues in the United States. This is where a Republican's not supposed to come, which is why Donald Trump came here. There's no place in America the president shouldn't be able to come.
And pray for former Mayor Rudy Giuliani as he is hospitalized in critical condition at a Florida hospital.
Breaking news, WABC.
Fighting for his life at this hour. President Trump has tweeted about him, Giuliani, in critical but stable condition, according to his spokesman. The spokesman stating Mayor Rudy Giuliani is currently in the hospital where he remains in critical but stable condition. This came via a statement adding Mayor Giuliani is a fighter who has faced every challenge in his life with unwavering strength, and he's fighting with that same level of strength as we speak. We do ask that you join us in prayer for America's Mayor, Rudy Giuliani. The 81-year-old former mayor is currently being treated in a Florida hospital. And 2 days ago, in a Friday broadcast on his show, America's Mayor Live, Giuliani coughed and noted that his voice was suffering as he was under the weather. And so apparently what he's fighting right now is pneumonia. And all I can say is please pray for the former mayor, because he really is at this hour in the fight of his life. He is sedated, but he's in the fight of his life, and I'm going to update you a bit further because this is a very fluid situation. Some of the other stories we are following this hour. Far left politics are going too far. What happens as a result? Spirit Airlines abruptly shuts down this weekend. A New York City mob outside a Brooklyn hospital was defending an illegal migrant with an alleged violent drug past. ICE had to step in. The NYPD had to be called in. At the end of the day, police arrested 9 demonstrators as ICE struggled to get control of the situation and to get the suspect into an SUV and to whisk the individual away. And our station owner, Mr. John Katsimatidis, honored in Las Vegas as part of the Broadcasting Foundation of America. We'll let you hear this hour and next hour part of his acceptance speech as he was awarded. And congratulations to you, Mr. Katsimatidis. So President Trump tonight, folks, and a lot of developments are happening. It's a very fluid situation, and I'm hoping and praying for the best. And it's a bit tough because, and I didn't know that on a personal level that I would have this type of reaction, because Giuliani as mayor, me and him, we feuded. I mean, it's one of the defining moments for both of us. Our relationship was written about in books that I would come at him every day trying to rip his lungs out. And to his credit, he took the heat as the mayor. He took the questions every single day. And his administration tried to have me removed from City Hall. They were unsuccessful to have Time Warner pull me. Time Warner put all their lawyers behind me, and they were unsuccessful. But as the years went by, as I became hospitalized, as we all go through milestones in life, I was hospitalized, diabetes, high blood pressure, the campaign, him and Dinkins driving me crazy. It was a battle where both men tried to get inside my head to get the advantage to win the election, and it took a toll on my spirit and my body. But it was at the hospital when I was hospitalized, when Giuliani called, that it started to change our relationship. And then over the years, we have become good friends. And I really wish the former mayor well. And it's just tough to get past this next 2 hours, to be straight and honest with you folks. So President Trump praising Giuliani in a Truth Social post after the news of his hospital stay broke. And President Trump stating, our fabulous, and I'm quoting here, Rudy Giuliani, a true warrior and the best mayor in the history of New York City. The president then capitalizes. He says, by far. And he says he's been hospitalized and is in critical condition. That's according to President Trump, who goes on to say, what a tragedy that he was treated so badly by the radical left lunatics, Democrats, all, and he was right about everything. This is what President Trump capitalizes about Giuliani. They cheated, on the elections, fabricated hundreds of stories, and did anything possible to destroy our nation. And now look at Rudy. So sad. This is according to President Trump. Former mayor Eric Adams reaching across the aisle. Folks, the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say without saying it, it does not look good at all. We're hoping for the best, but it does not look good at all. Former Mayor Eric Adams wishing Giuliani a speedy recovery, adding that he was saving a cigar for him. They both smoked cigars. Once he's released from the hospital, Eric Adams writing here, Mayor Rudy Giuliani devoted his life to the city from his days as a federal prosecutor to leading New York through 9/11. He was there when we needed him most. And this is what the former mayor wrote on Twitter. And he says, I'm praying for Rudy and his family and hoping for a speedy recovery. We shared a cigar in Florida not too long ago. I'm saving one for when you're back home, my friend. So apparently, folks, as far as the medical condition, and this is all speculation at this point, we don't have anything hard and confirmed, but apparently Giuliani has pneumonia. At this hour, he is sedated. He may have had a pulmonary embolism, which is a sudden, life-threatening blockage in the lungs arteries, usually caused by a blood clot that is traveling from the legs. And so it doesn't look good at this hour, but let's hope and pray for the best for the former mayor. 800-848-9222. We're starting with your telephone calls in just a second. But New York City and the mayor. It's just not working out, folks. Mamdani, this from Fox News.
A major budget deficit is hitting New York City, but Mayor Zohran Mamdani, the person that President Trump calls my little commie, he's still finding ways to spend more. Mamdani says he's carving out $500,000 of the city's budget for funding community discussions on reparations. The announcement comes amid increasing concerns of the city's $5.4 billion budget deficit. And
so it's not working, folks. And then, you have the situation over the weekend at the hospital in Brooklyn. Police there, ICE there to arrest the suspect. They arrest them. A crowd emerges, large protests, yelling and screaming. NYPD called in for backup. I guess we should be thankful that we live in a city where police back up ICE. Remember in Chicago, the situation there. And so 9 arrests were made. 9 arrests. The guy had apparently a drug past, was wanted by ICE, and they were out there protesting on his behalf. 800-848-9222. So when I say it's not working as it relates to these Democrats and socialism and these Democrats, and if you didn't hear me, these Democrats, I want you to listen to the police union chief in Chicago where an officer was recently killed.
The smug attitude, the smiling, the smirking, the laughing, the I love yous from the family, even after hearing the despicable acts that this piece of did, it's appalling, it's disgusting. It's the reason the death penalty should still be in Illinois. One is enough. We keep talking about one is enough when we talk about a police-involved shooting. One is too many. What about one police officer being murdered? It's never too many. We are sacrificial lambs for the politicians in this city and state. It needs to stop. It just does.
And in Illinois, you have Dumb and Dumber as the governor and mayor of Chicago, and cops are dying now. The socialism doesn't work. Brad Johnson, Mamdani, cut from the same cloth. Their lofty ideas we pay with our money and with our lives. 800-848-9222. I see your telephone calls. We're about to get to them in just a second. So if you woke up over the weekend, you saw the headlines. Spirit Airlines, gone. It didn't have to be this way. Budget airline, it didn't have to be this way. What happened? The Biden administration, Senator Elizabeth Warren, got in the way when JetBlue tried to merge with them. And now, as a result, Spirit Airlines is no more. Shut down operations immediately. Some of you may have airline tickets for Spirit Airlines. Good luck with that. Shut down operations immediately. And Secretary Sean Duffy appearing on the Sunday morning shows, going off on the Biden administration and Elizabeth Warren for canceling the Spirit and JetBlue merger in 2024 that would have saved this budget airline.
Between JetBlue and Spirit. And Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg, along with the Biden DOJ, decided that they did not want that merger to take place. And at the time, the Biden and Buttigieg DOJ bragged and said, as they canceled the option for this merger, that this was a victory for U.S. travelers who deserve lower prices and better choices. Now, many at the time said this was a disaster. This merger should have been allowed. And this today would indicate this is not better for travelers. This is not better for pricing. This is not better for competition. Actually, it's worse. We had an airline go down because the markets were trying to allow two airlines to merge, make them stronger, and offer more competition for the American consumer. Also, Elizabeth Warren at the time cheered the blocking of the merger, saying that this was a Biden win for flyers. So, again, I think it's important that we always look with a keen eye when airlines want to merge. We care about pricing for consumers. We care about competition. But if the markets are saying there needs to be a merger because there's health issues with one of the airlines or more than one airline, we have to take a look at it and make sure we make the right choices. And in this situation, history has judged the denial of the merger between JetBlue and Spirit through the Biden administration with, I think, a view that it was a massive mistake. So we have been engaged, again, with the airlines.
And so as we start with your telephone calls, again, the top story of the night and morning. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani in the hospital in Florida fighting for his life. There are reports that he has pneumonia. He's sedated, but it's time to pray for the city's former mayor. And he may have had a pulmonary embolism, which is not a good sign. Lots of reports out there. We don't have anything definitive. We can only tell you definitely that he's sedated and fighting for his life at this hour. President Trump tweeting about him, former Mayor Eric Adams tweeting about Giuliani, and this is where we stand right now. Let's start with your telephone calls, 800-848-9222. Let's begin with line 2, John in Hell's Kitchen. John, good evening. What's on your mind?
Good evening to you, Dominic. It's a very sad night. I hope that whichever way this goes, God will be merciful to this man, because how they crucified this man and how they humiliated this man. And I certainly hope that all these clowns like Anna Navarro and Hakeem Jeffries will all shut their mouths, show civility, show manners, show dignity and class, because this was a man, when this city was sinking, captained this ship, and now we're in a rudderless city, Dominic. We're in a rudderless city with no leadership. And listen, we all do good, we all do bad, we make mistakes. That's why they put erasers on pencils, right? But and I feel bad for Andrew. This is a father, a grandfather, an uncle, a husband, an ex-husband, and a person who was there in this city when we were on our knees. And it's sad that it's 25 years ago and people have forgotten. So I hope New York City, I'm asking you, New York City, please have some respect and dignity and for this man, and look at the good things he did. Forget about the bad things he did, and prayers and love to this man.
John, thank you for the great call. I remember 9/11 like it was yesterday, especially as it relates to Giuliani, because on election days, normally what would happen is I was allowed to sleep in and not come into the office until about 4 or 5 p.m., start doing some recordings, and then start the television election coverage. And the reason why I was allowed to come in so late is because it was never known how long I would be working that night. So, for example, going back to Gore and Bush, I came in late, but ended up staying on the air live until 6 a.m. in the morning. So I was on the air for 12 hours, nonstop television, New York 1. So 9/11 happens, and I'm home sleep, ready to come in later on for the election. And I get a call from the assignment desk, and they're like, get in here now. Any way that you can, get in now. And I'm like, what's going on? Turn on the TV. So I turn on the TV, you see the towers and so on. And when a city was on its knees, in fact, a country was on its knees, Washington had President Bush up in the air for security reasons, and you had Cheney at the White House, and who was on the ground? On the ground was Rudy Giuliani, walking through the site of what had happened to send a message to the city, to the country, to the world, that you may have hit us, but New York City is coming back stronger than ever. And that's exactly what he did. And I'll never forget the early days of 9/11 for two reasons. All of those cop funerals, all of those firefighter funerals, and as the mayor of the city, Giuliani was going to 3-4 funerals a day. And remember, folks, oftentimes there were no bodies there. They had perished in the fires. And he was going to 4 or 5 funerals a day. And I didn't know how this man was standing. And I'll never forget, he had to have his daily briefings to tell the city what was going on, what was the next step, and on and on. And things were so fluid. They were so fluid that the city, we could not broadcast or say where we were coming from at the time because no one knew what was next. And so we had to report to the West Side Highway over by the river in I guess, I don't know what you call them, one of those warehouses. And that's where we all reported live from there. And, you know, and I marveled at the fact of how strong he was. I marveled at the fact that it was so bad at Bellevue Hospital. They had brought in grief counselors at the TV station. And so we were working 16-hour shifts. And at the time, New York 1 was located on 42nd, right off of between 10th and 11th. I think, yes, 10th and 11th, or right on the west side, between 9th and 10th. Now I got it. And so there was a hotel across the street. And when we were not working, it was mandated. They gave us the option, though, but it was basically mandated that you had to go talk to these grief counselors. And so after that first night where I got about 3 hours sleep, and the whole Manhattan was shut down. But so they said, I call in for my assignment, and they say, Dominic, you're assigned to Bellevue and to the morgue. And we got to the morgue, and so imagine the pressure that was on Giuliani. We got to Bellevue, and it started a national trend because I had a producer, I'm not going to say his name, where he couldn't handle it. He started cracking up on me in the live truck. It was enormous pressure. And he started getting mad at me because I was reporting the story cold as I had to honor the victims. And family members were coming up to each of us. This was right after this happened. And they're coming up to each of us and they're saying, can you please help me find my loved one? And I know that they're gone because no ambulances were pulling up to the hospital. They had all these triage units ready to go at Bellevue. Not a single ambulance pulled up. Not one. Not one. And my producer at the time, he started I knew he was having a hard time. And he continued to do the job, but he was having a hard time. And he was like, Dominic, we got to help these people find their loved ones. And the only way that we could help them is I said, you know what, if you give me a description or a picture, I'll show their picture. I'll describe and it started a national trend where every news organization reported from Bellevue for weeks talking about the family members and so on. And then they sent me over to the morgue. Now, remember, Giuliani's in charge of all of this. I'm on edge. My producer's cracking up. I don't know the state of the cameraman. And, I got to get this producer some sleep because he can't handle this. And we get over to the morgue, and they don't have enough. They had to set up emergency. They had to set up emergency because there were not bodies coming in. There were only body parts coming in. And they had to set up a truck for body parts right outside the medical examiner's office. And it's 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm reporting nonstop on what's going on. And Giuliani is in charge of all of this as the mayor of New York City. Really, he was functioning as the leader for a nation. I've got to take a break. We see all your telephone calls again. A sad night as Rudy Giuliani is fighting for his life at a Florida hospital. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
WABC. Now, here's Dominic Carter.
Nice to be with you, Dominic.
It gets better. You need to talk to Dominic Carter.
On Talk Radio 77 WABC.
And we are back. And a few things I want to say. One, we're going to get to Mr. Catsimatidis, honored recently in Las Vegas at the Broadcasters Foundation of America. He's an outstanding leader. In a second, you're going to hear part of his acceptance speech. Mr. Catsimatidis was out there. Mrs. Catsimatidis, Chad Lopez, the president of the company. You know, you folks are really, really important to me. I can't be any more direct than that. I get mad at myself in times like this because you have to be professional no matter what. And I get mad at myself because when you do what I do, you cannot let emotion get in the way. And I didn't know that I would have this type of reaction to Giuliani's situation. Again, you have to understand our relationship. He becomes mayor. You got two titans about to go head to head. And I mean head to head every day for his tenure, every day. And what's interesting is that publicly we would fight like dogs, but privately he was very cool. He would call me. We'd have private, as mayor, we'd have private conversations. He would invite me into his office at City Hall. The mayor of New York City, and I'm sure it's still the same way, they have a very nice office. You have the office upstairs. And for the mayor, he can go downstairs in his office at City Hall where they have a shower for the mayor. So he can go down there if he wants to, take a nap, take a shower, freshen up, get a change of clothes. And so where you folks come in at is, I kid you not, I was like, God, please help me get through these next 2 hours. You have got to be professional. So we started out at each other's throats. And then we became friends. Just like I became friends with Ed Koch. Koch would invite me over to his apartment. We would have conversations. Him and D'Amato would give me advice. I wouldn't follow it. Whenever they would say to me, Dominic, don't respond. When someone, another politician would come after me, they would say, don't respond. Don't respond. And of course, with my hard head, I would say, Mayor, Senator, you don't understand where I'm from. Where I'm from, you respond. You don't turn like a punk. And of course, they were right, because the papers would crucify me for responding, you know, and you live and you learn. And so here's what got me to be able to do the broadcast tonight. Hermit Sal, two tweets I want to focus on. Hermit Sal, and I really believe that this was God. So I'm 30 minutes before air tonight, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do if this man passes? Well, I want him to live forever. What am I going to do if he passes in the course of the next 2 hours while I'm on the air live? You have got to be professional, Dominic. And so Hermit Sal put a picture of himself with my Dominic Carter t-shirt, and he put it on and posted it on Twitter. And then I said the same thing I just said to you, but I said it via tweet to Sal, Hermit Sal, and he says, good to hear. As we pray for Mayor Rudy, you will be fine. You will stay professional for yourself and for us, and you will get through the next 2 hours for us and for yourself. And then I got 20 other tweets, but I'll get to in 1 second. Then Nikki posted, who's a mom, and she said, good evening, Dominic. I hope that you and your family had a lovely weekend. Sorry that I haven't been on X lately. I was celebrating with my daughter because she is now a member of the National Honors Society. My dedication and sacrifice is paying off. So those two comments were able to get me to the microphone tonight. And I am really trying my best to be professional and then that's when I get angry, because we must be professional no matter what. And Mayor Giuliani, perhaps, we hope for the best, but perhaps being at the end of his life, I didn't know it would hit me like this. So let's go to, oh, wait a minute. Before I go back to the telephone calls, let's deal with the honor in terms of the owner of this station. We all know who he is. He does the Monday through Friday show. He does on the weekends, the Cats Roundtable. Mr. Catsimatidis, one of the owners, Mrs. Catsimatidis, the other owner of this radio station, they were in Vegas recently as Mr. Catsimatidis was honored, the Broadcasters Foundation of America. And I'm going to have more of his speech next hour. But here's a little bit of what he had to say.
And why am I in this business? Because we want to tell the truth, justice, and the American way. We want our kids and grandkids to grow up the right way. I am dedicated AM radio. I talk to the president all the time. Right now, he's busy with a war. So before I press the subject, let's get the war over with first. AM radio is going to survive, and I'm enjoying running WABC. And like we said, radio is going to be different. We are now streaming in 178 countries, 50 states, and I spoke to the president about we're going to concentrate on Europe. You know why? Europe doesn't get necessarily the truth. If you have to listen to certain stations in Europe, the European people deserve the truth, and we're going to get them the truth. But I want to say thank you to all, and thank you to McCarthy, and thank you to all your leadership. I want everybody to work hard in radio. Why? Because we want America to be the way we all grew up to be. God bless all of you. Thank you so much. And I want to also dedicate the person, he was supposed to be here with us at our table, but he's at the hospital now, Jerry Crowley. You know, I ran for mayor in 2013 in New York City. My company won because I lost, but Jerry called upon me, says, he got me involved in radio. Thank you, Jerry Crowley, and you're going to be okay today. And he's at the hospital right now, but he's going to be okay. And Jerry says to me, I want you to get involved in radio. So I started 1 hour a week, then 2 hours, then 3 hours, then 4 hours. Then I bought a radio station. But again, God bless America. Thank you all, and thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Catsimatidis, for what you and your wife do for all of us each and every day. So again, our top story this hour, Mayor Giuliani fighting for his life. Giuliani, 81, at a hospital in Florida. He's hospitalized. He's in critical condition, sedated. Apparently, Giuliani has pneumonia, but he may have had a pulmonary embolism, which is a sudden life-threatening blockage in the lungs arteries, usually caused by a blood clot traveling through the legs. So what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't look good. You know, we hope and pray for the best, but it doesn't look good. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's go back to your telephone calls. Let's see here. Let's go to Eddie, line 4, Babylon. Eddie, what's on your mind?
Wonderful, Dominic. And I am a 9/11 first responder. I'm in nuclear medicine. I have a story about Rudy, but first I want to give you an award because you so accurately told us what's wrong with Rudy. Nobody could find out today. And yes, a blood clot, a pulmonary embolism goes to a segment of the lung and blocks the breathing, the oxygen exchange, and then pneumonia. What they'll do is give him a blood thinner, and they're going to give him IV antibiotics, maybe tap his lung. I pray that he'll be okay. And I met Rudy twice. Once at McGurk's funeral mass at St. Patrick's. What a nice guy to talk to on the sidewalk. And then at the America First warehouse, I talked to him for 40 minutes. We laughed. He's very intelligent. I mean, he's a tiger if he's fighting you. That's for sure. This guy holds his ground. And you know he had that radio show in the afternoon, and he held his ground. But, hey, a little furlough. But, you know, that's Rudy. And he looked at me, and he goes, so where you from? I go, I'm from North Babylon. He goes, well, I was from Sound Beach in the summer. We used to go out there as a kid. I said, my sister lived in Sound Beach. She does. And he said, when you call up the radio station, Eddie, I want you to say that you're Eddie from Sound Beach, and I'll always pick up and talk to you. And, you know, just shook my hand. And what a terrific man in person. He really is. He's just everything you'd want as a friend. And I think, you know, he'd have your back if he was in the same opinion as you and fight for you. And I want him to get better. I know medicine. He's in a good hospital. And, God bless Rudy, Dominic. Let's not be sad. Let's be hopeful.
Well, you're right there, Eddie. Let's be hopeful. And Giuliani has pulled health magic before, so let's hope that he'll do it again. Thank you for the call, Eddie. It's just folks. On a personal level, it's just tough because when I started in this business, 1986, and I still remember that. Part of me feels that I'm still that kid around all these legendary journalists. And I've told this story before. I get sent down to City Hall, and I'm scared to death. And I walk into the room at City Hall where the reporters work out of, and there were legendary journalists there. And they're all deceased now. And it's kind of hard to deal with that. This is Doug Edelson and, chain smoker. But the type of legends, they don't make them like this anymore. But the type of legends that you walked in awe, and my eyes were wide open. This is Stan Brooks, nicest man in the world that you'd ever meet. Mary Gay Taylor reporting live from City Hall. I could go on and on. This is Joe Bragg. I could go on and on and on. And all of those journalists embraced me. Kid, I'll never forget, Doug Edelson said to me, I'm scared to death. I'm from the projects in the Bronx. And now I'm brand new. I don't know left from right. And I'm around all these legendary journalists in New York City. And Doug Edelson says, kid, literally, go sit down over there in the corner. We got you. We won't let you fail. And sure enough. And then at the time, it was Mayor Koch. And for some reason, I'm just made like this. When others didn't ask the tough questions, I said, okay, so it falls on me. And I'll never forget, at the time, I asked Ed Koch a tough question. And he looked at me like, who do you think you are, as he answered the question. And then we ended up becoming friends. Covering the race between him and Dinkins. And then there was a federal prosecutor that you knew was coming long and hard. You knew that this guy was meant to be the mayor of the city. One of the worst times of my life was covering the first election between Dinkins and Giuliani. Oh, it was a battle to the end. And each of them tore at me. Each of them. Each campaign. It was a nightmare for me. It was nothing that was fun about it. Then the rematch. Rudy pulls away, becomes mayor. Then me and him start going toe-to-toe every day. But after he left office, he was the type of mayor that, and I respected this from one bulldog to another. He would come at me. Now, he'd come at me hard and heavy. Dominic, you're embarrassing yourself. Sit down, right, in front of crowds. No, Mr. Mayor, answer the question. Answer the question, Mr. Mayor. His press secretary, Dominic, what questions are you going to ask the mayor? I'm not telling you, Jack. And I wouldn't tell because I felt that it was insult. It's not like this anymore. Now, Rudy had to take questions when God only knows what he was going to face. You had a room full of the top political journalists, and somebody might ask him a question about crime. Somebody might ask him a question about sanitation. Somebody might ask him a question about Russia, and on and on and on and on and on. Nowadays, you have situations where, oh, that's off topic. The mayor only takes off topic questions once a week. No. Koch, Giuliani, Dinkins, whatever reporters felt like asking, that was the question that you faced each and every single day. It started with de Blasio. That's off topic. The mayor only answers off topic questions on Wednesdays. You can ask about housing as it relates. So in other words, what makes the person look good? You could ask a question about that, but that's it. So we got to get back to the days of Giuliani. Giuliani would want, and there were a few times where we would come at Giuliani so hard, he'd get mad and walk out the room. Every mayor did. But it wasn't personal. And that's why I think me and him got to be good friends after he was mayor. He was riding along Park Avenue one day, and I'm walking somewhere, and this town car pulls up to me, and they roll down the window, and the guy says, "Hey, Dominic, it's Rudy. How you doing, man?" And I'm like, this guy is all right. He's all right. Let's go. Well, you know what? Maybe I should take a break first. We see all your calls, folks. We're going to get to them. I'm here with you until 1 a.m. on what is a very tough night. Rudy Giuliani and the battle of his life at a hospital in Florida, age 81, apparently battling pneumonia, but he may have had a pulmonary embolism. And so that's not good, and it's life-threatening, but all of this stuff is preliminary. We are going to take a break. We're coming right back with your telephone calls.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
WABC.
Now, here's Dominic Carter.
Nice to be with you, Dominic.
It gets better. You need to talk to Dominic Carter.
On Talk Radio 77 WABC.
And we are back. One more point this hour about Giuliani. It's funny. It's interesting, ironic how life works. So Giuliani was doing the daytime show here, and it's almost like the Yankees bullpen, right? The manager makes the sign, "Give me the lefty out of the bullpen." The manager makes the sign, Giuliani's out, Carter's in, literally. And I'm like, okay, I'm replacing a living legend, literally. And you know what this living legend did? Every time I saw Rudy Giuliani said, "Dominic, you're doing an outstanding job." Every time I saw Giuliani. All right, let's get back to your telephone call. Sandra, line 2, New Jersey. What's on your mind, Sandra?
Oh, Dominic, I feel your pain. I really do, because you knew him very well and you love him, and I love him too. And I feel sad also. I feel like this way. Look, he is known for his fighting spirit, so maybe we're going to get lucky with this, and he's going to fight and beat whatever happened to him. This is what I pray for. But I have to tell you one thing that I always will remember that he said. When we had the COVID, you remember that horrible time? Well, I didn't take the vaccinations, and I did get COVID twice. The first time it was pretty tough, but I remember he said, you fight it like a soldier. You be strong, and you fight it, and you get better. And that's what happened, and I did. And I remember him saying that you just fight it like a soldier. He's tough, Dominic, and I pray to God tonight that he pulls through and he makes this, like that man that called before said, he has a chance. You know, he was saying what they do for this. So I hope so, because you know what? I feel like without him on this planet, it's going to be kind of empty. He's someone very special that we all love, and we love him for his fighting spirit. You love him because you fought with him. I mean, it was a beautiful relationship that you had with him, and you're going to feel a loss, a big-time loss, if he dies. So we have to pray that he doesn't, and I'm going to go with that we just got to be positive.
Well, those are some very good words. And Sandra, thank you for that. And yes, everything about Rudy Giuliani is fight for what's right, you know, in his mind, and go 100%. And you know, let's hope for the best. But and thank you for the call, Sandra. I don't know if it's with me, if it's that life is starting to hit me in terms of I'm going to be pretty soon in the on deck circle in this process of life for those that have gone before me, the legendary journalists, they're all gone. I look at kids embarrassing themselves down at City Hall now. They shouldn't even be allowed in the building as journalists compared to what I started with, the legends. And then, I would meet this prosecutor for the Southern District, Rudy Giuliani. And, for some reason, God had it where we would go toe to toe. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe God said, this is the one to challenge you, Giuliani. Carter, this is the politician to challenge you. You two guys. But it's just funny how life works because I just want the man to pull through. And I didn't know that it would hit me this hard. Because normally in situations like this, I'm completely removed on an emotional level. That's how I have to do the job every day. If I become a basket case every day over something bad that happens, I wouldn't make it through a single day. And so you just have to, but it's just hard. This one is difficult, very difficult. Let's go to Susan, line 3, Corning, New York. Susan, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I was involved in some of his volunteer efforts, and I got to meet him in 1970, or he was Man of the Year, whatever year that was, 2000, into the Man of the Year before 9/11. So he did so many things. And his resiliency, I think, is what I remember so much because he did run for mayor and lost, the first time. But then he came back. He didn't quit, and he never quit. And he's actually a humanitarian. And I think you will relate to this because you know how many murders reduced under his watch, and those weren't the people that voted for him. He just didn't want to see all these beautiful people being slaughtered in New York City. And then he stood up for children's welfare and fixed that under Nicholas Scapetta when he realized that the whole system was failing and these children were being not monitored and little innocent babies were getting killed mercilessly. So he did a lot of things before 9/11, and he did many of them quietly. He went to the hospitals. He was there for people, and then his nature, I mean, if God wants him now, but he isn't in God's hands. But he has so much resiliency. I think if we do pray that, but this is a tough one. This is a tough one that takes many lives, even younger and better health than him, pneumonia. But now we have a lot more tools, and you know what? I think the world of this man, and President Trump has a lot of these same qualities.
Indeed. Susan, thank you for the great call. And you know what, folks, I'm going to talk about it next hour as well. Momentarily, I'm going to have other news headlines with Liz Radapali coming up in just seconds. But to Susan's point, there were some 2,000 murders in New York when Giuliani took over and under Dinkins, and he put that in deep check immediately. He started workfare centers, no more free rides with welfare. You had to work for that check. So Rudy Giuliani, again, this hour in the fight of his life, apparently battling pneumonia. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And a lot to get to this hour, but our lead story, America's mayor, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, hospitalized in critical condition, apparently battling pneumonia. And the type of mood I'm in this morning, folks, I think that given the news of this situation, this song kind of symbolizes where my head is, where I need to clear my own head.
It's a particular honor to receive the Donald J. Trump Award, not only because he's one of our great presidents, and will be one of our great presidents, but also he's a very, very good friend, and has been for almost 40 years. So, and since I'm a little bit older than he is, I'm proud of him. You know, the way you are. When I first met him, he was like a younger man, and to see what he's accomplished, it made all of it, every single thing, worth it.
And so that's the former mayor receiving an award from President Trump in Florida. Giuliani in the fight of his life right now, 81 years of age. And, he was, of course, the personal lawyer to President Trump for a while. And President Trump wrote about Giuliani's hospitalization in a social media post. He called Giuliani tonight a true warrior and the best mayor in the history of New York City. And then the President of the United States capitalizes by far. Eric Adams, New York's former mayor, also praising Giuliani's service and in a statement, Eric Adams stating from his years as a federal prosecutor to leading New York City through its darkest day on 9/11, he stood with this city when it needed him most. And apparently Giuliani is battling pneumonia, and he's sedated at this hour, apparently. But he may have had a pulmonary embolism, not good news, which is life-threatening blockage. And, we haven't received an official statement from the doctors. But what's not fun, to be honest with you folks, is to be on the air right now, and you hoping and you praying that that announcement doesn't come while you're on the air. That at least on a personal level, you're given the dignity to deal with this off air and not on air, because we have to be professional no matter what. A lot to get to. Spirit Airlines, a shutdown abruptly over the weekend. Thank you very much, Elizabeth Warren and President Biden. Democrats, I'm sorry, folks, Democrat elected officials are ruining this country. So we're going to get to all of that. So much to deal with. But first, before I take your calls on Giuliani, we see them all, 800-848-9222. I want you to listen to this. And this is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about if the deal had been allowed to go through between JetBlue and Spirit Airlines would be operating right now and not shut down.
And Secretary, let me get your take on what took place in terms of Spirit Airlines, because I know that the Democrats did not want Spirit to merge with JetBlue a year ago, and now we see that Spirit Airlines closed operations. The Treasury was supposed to be doing a deal to save this company. Can you tell us what happened?
Sure, Maria. So this is just more of the mess we inherited from the Biden administration. In September 2022, Elizabeth Warren, who loves to write letters, sent a letter to the Justice Department, to the Transport Department, saying that they should oppose the merger with Spirit Airlines. JetBlue wanted to buy them for $3.8 billion. It would have given them much more resiliency. And she and the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who's probably the worst transportation secretary in history when he came to the office, they were against the merger. And if JetBlue had merged with Spirit, we would have all these jobs that were lost yesterday. We had 30 regional airports who have lost service. And I can tell you what happened here. It wasn't Treasury, it was Commerce that was trying to put something together. But the reason we were here was because the Biden administration opposed the merger. We shouldn't have been here in the first place.
So we get President Biden, we get Senator Warren. It sounds just like AOC when she opposed Amazon. Long Island City, that area near the projects of New York City, still hasn't recovered from AOC. Oh, folks, you see how this worked? She's gone on to greatness in terms of her career. You're left holding the bag. 800-848-9222. Line 4, Paul in the Bronx. Good morning, Paul. What's on your mind?
Hi, good morning. I'm a retired NYPD detective. Giuliani, the police unions got him elected and reelected. He rewarded us with zeros. He reported the lies from Christy.
Okay. Do you have anything positive? No. We're not going to do this. Cut him off. We're not going to do this morning. If you think I don't care where you worked. You sound like a straight loser to me. I don't care if you worked NYPD. I don't care if you worked for God. We're not going to do that this morning. With this man fighting for his life, do you have no shame? Do you have no soul? Didn't your mother raise you better? That in times like this, if you don't have something nice to say, shut the up. Let's see here. Let's go to Joe, line 3, Ozone Park. Joe, what's on your mind? Good morning.
Hey, Dominic, love your show. I'm feeling your pain too about Rudy. He's irreplaceable. He's the greatest, like Trump said, by far. And what he did for the city, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, they're throwing all this hard work in the garbage now, but that's another show. But what he did, I mean, he just 42nd Street alone, what he did.
Absolutely. And it seems like, hey, Joe, it seems like we're going back that way. It seems like this is a disaster with Mamdani. I mean, you might as well put the smut theaters up. Come watch the dollar porn movie or go into the booth with the private girl dancing for you. It seems like we're headed back that way, Joe. Go ahead.
Well, there's a good movie that everybody should watch, James Woods. It's called Rudy, and people will see what this man did with this city. It really gives a complete picture. We are going backwards, but it will really see. It will show you in that movie what he did. It's an incredible film, and I just pray that he pulls through because he's irreplaceable. There's only one Rudy Giuliani.
Absolutely. Thank you for the telephone call. Folks, you want to know how bad things are with partisan politics, how bad things are, how bad they are? Trump's granddaughter, one of his granddaughters, Kai Trump, did a podcast recently. Don't believe me. Listen to what this college student has to say in terms of, this is an illustration of how bad our politics are today.
Question. Jimmy Kimmel has apologized. Is it a good apology?
Okay, we're looking for soundbite 14. Soundbite 14.
I mean, hey, some people don't like me. I mean, 50% of the world doesn't like me because of my last name. But, they don't actually know me. So, I'm hoping if people actually give me a shot and like not look at like the last name, then I won't have any ops, but we'll see.
Does that happen often? Are people screaming shit at you?
I've had one time I was out in public and someone literally walked up to me to tell me that my grandma sucks. I'm like, well, thank you so much for taking the time of your day to say that. Like, great. What do you want me to say to that? Like, I literally, I was literally like, okay.
So I want you to think about that. Let it marinate. People walking up to this man's granddaughter thinking they have a right to say whatever they want to her about her grandfather. You keep your nutty ideas to yourself. You don't have a right. That's the problem in our country. Let's go to Greg in Michigan, line 4. Greg, good morning. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic, Mr. Positive, boom shakalaka. Hey, when we talk about Jimmy Kimmel and we talk about free speech, who's the arbiter as to what free speech is? And number one. Number two, comedy is irreverent. A comedian is irreverent. Should he have said what he said?
Wait, Greg, can we do me a favor? Save me the small talk. What are you trying to say? Get to the point.
Okay, I'm trying to say...
You and I both know what you're trying to say. Just say it.
Well, okay, Jimmy Kimmel, if he was an equal opportunity basher, would he be in the position that he is in right now?
Okay, so why do you keep asking me questions? Why are you afraid to take a stand on your own position?
I am. I'm trying to...
No. You asked me, you keep asking me a question. I'm sorry, Greg. Man up. Say what your position is. Stop asking me these stupid questions when you're trying to defend Jimmy Kimmel. Say exactly what you want to say. Don't ask me no stupid question.
Okay, well then my point is that Kimmel should be able to say what he'd said.
Okay, now I strongly disagree with you. Why play these games of trying to ask me a question to say what you could have said in 15 seconds? Why do that?
Well, I'm surprised that you say that because
you don't think I know what you're trying to do. You don't think. Wait a minute, Greg. You don't think I know what you're trying to do based on the questions you're asking me? What you're doing is insulting all of us and, frankly, wasting my time. Man up and say exactly what it is you have to say.
Do you think something is that easy?
Here we go again with the questions. Here we go again with the questions. Say what you have to say.
I see why you're not a good talk show host. You don't get to the...
I have some of the highest ratings in New York, and on Sunday night, we dominate New York. So nothing could be cut. That's one of the greatest accomplishments of this program. On Sunday nights, we completely dominate all of New York City. Not AM, not FM, all of the radio. So go meet Mr. Click. You are done with your stupid ideas. Time for a break. We're coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back. Folks, whatever position you may have on any given issue, that's fine with me. I give people a lot of rope. And frankly, it's rope to hang yourself. And if you were listening to the program for the last 5 minutes, that's just exactly what happened. I think it's Gregory, in Michigan. He's clearly far left. And he calls up often and he tries to hide it by asking me stupid questions that are slanted to lean towards his point of view. Clearly, he backs Jimmy Kimmel. But rather than being a man about it, right? And it's fine, right? Greg or whatever his name was. But rather than being a man about it, he wants to play these silly games and waste, frankly, my time and your airtime, precious airtime that can go, given the amount of callers that we get, that could go to one of you. So if you stuck on stupid, in which that last caller in Michigan was, why not give it a break for a few days and let somebody else call? We don't need to be impressed with your far left politics where you're trying to trap me with these stupid questions, and I see it coming before it even comes out of your mouth, and I obviously can't see you. So stop wasting my time and yours. How about this? Listen to another show. Call another show on another station. I don't care. But I don't need the headaches of your nonsense. Let's go to Gracie, line 3 in California. Gracie, what's going on? What's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. I want to call about the problem on the airplanes. But people like Greg, just say your point, what you feel, so that maybe you could convince us if you give us facts.
Right.
But if you do the dance, you're accomplishing nothing and you're wasting my air time.
Right.
Now, I'll go. Why is there a problem? You ask, why is there a problem that there were 500 incidents on the airplane since January? Why? Because there are no consequences. What with the kids with the Scientology thing you reported, they run in. What's going to happen to them? The people on Columbia University, what's going to happen to them? The people that are interfering with ICE, what's going to happen to them? This is a plan to make it seem that there is that we're going to have a police state because things are going to be so bad that people are going to jump in and take over and kind of smooth everything out. I am very worried. There are no consequences. Somebody should have hit that man today or yesterday on the head. And then the person who did the hitting would be the one who sued.
Absolutely. Gracie, you're correct. And let me just say this about you, Gracie. Good or bad, and I agree with you 99% of the time on the issues, but you call up, you take a stand. You take a stand. You don't waver. You don't hide. You don't dip your finger in. You don't say, let me hide so Dominic doesn't understand where I'm coming from. When you take a stand. But there are no consequences. These kids running into the church of Scientology, whatever you call it, somebody's going to get shot. Somebody's going to you got on a mask. Security doesn't know you're a kid doing a stunt. You've got women going on aircraft look like straight up hookers, the way they're dressed. We can pick any topic that you want. Gracie, it's absolutely crazy. You are correct. There are no consequences. Folks, we see all of your calls. 800-848-9222. But again, our lead story, America's mayor, former mayor Rudy Giuliani, right now in the fight of his life, apparently battling pneumonia in a hospital in Florida, and he may have had a pulmonary embolism. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at my Twitter, at my X. And the lovely DMS just said something. So, folks, I am guilty of this much, right? I don't care what your politics are, right? Let's talk about it. Let's see whose thoughts can survive debate, right? It doesn't matter what your positions on any given issues may be. But DMS just said something that made me think about it. And I guess I got to start being more selective and stop taking some calls, which I really don't want to do that. But DMS says, and she's so right here, she says, so sorry, Dominic, that you have to walk this emotional tightrope and get twisted callers like Greg, who always starts his calls with boom shakalaka. Let me stop DMS's tweet right there. DMS, thank you. Every time this nut gets on the air and says boom shakalaka, I just ignore it. Who in their right mind calls a radio show and starts out their call with boom shakalaka? And maybe I'm just as crazy as him because I'm taking his call. Then she goes on to say, what intelligent, thoughtful person does that? Then to think he's so clever, he'll ask you the questions and tightens his noose. What a numbskull. Then she goes on to say, Rudy, meaning Rudy Giuliani, can survive this. God gave him and you strength. And you know what, DMS? You are so correct. Why am I taking a telephone call from somebody that says boom shakalaka? Why am I doing that? Have I lost my mind? I may take his call again if he ever says that again, boom shakalaka, he will be cut off immediately, and it will be the last time that he calls the Dominic Carter Show. Mr. Greg in Michigan. Here it is, but I will thank Greg for this much. You see, when I'm against the ropes, right, when I'm in a boxing match and I'm against the ropes and I'm in the corner right now, all right, I'm trying to avoid an 8 count, right, because on the emotional level, I'm upset about Rudy Giuliani's health situation, and I didn't know that it would impact me like this. And so I'm trying to get through this broadcast in a professional manner, frankly, without breaking down on air. And I got a grown-ass man calling me from Michigan talking about boom shakalaka. And I'm stupid enough to take his telephone call. But that's on me. That's on me. So the mood I'm in, folks, and I start at the 11 o'clock hour this way. Oftentimes, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, got to be up to do the 3 p.m. show to start getting ready for it. And I played this song this evening, but it's Selena. And it's always been one of my favorite songs. And for real, you know, late at night when all the world is sleeping, I stay up and think of you. And I think about lots of things, but here's part of the song.
Late at night when all the world is sleeping, I stay up and think of you. And I still can't believe that you came up to me and said, I love you. I love you too. Now I'm dreaming with you tonight till tomorrow and for all of my life. And there's nowhere around the world I'd rather be than here in my room, dreaming with you in the sleep.
Selena. Now that's picking up my spirits. That is picking up my spirits. Because this is a rough broadcast for me, folks. And frankly, 1 p.m. Eastern can't get here fast enough. Can't get here fast enough. If something should happen to Mr. Giuliani when I'm off air, then I can deal with that.
All right, I know.
But I'm on air right now, and I can't handle that right now. I want to go back to some of your telephone calls. Let's go to Rod, line 1 in St. Louis. Rod, good morning. What's on your mind?
Well, Dominic, what I want to say is when 9/11 hit us, Rudy was a hero. He showed what America was all about. He stood up to a very difficult situation, and I think we all respected that for him. That he was America's
Absolutely.
mayor. He was
Absolutely.
just a super guy. Now, Dominic, I want to ask you a personal question. You told, and I've listened to you on the air talk about your background, that you were fortunate enough to go to Seattle and to live with some of your relatives to help you out when you were a kid. I was a poor kid in Seattle. I lived in Yesler Terrace, and I went to Washington Junior High, which was a inner city junior high that was 65% black and 25% Japanese. What school were you at in Seattle?
Well, it's a great question, Rod. I lived in a suburb of Seattle, and I went to Linwood High School. No, I went to Edmonds High School, and I played on the football team.
Is that around Shoreline?
See, I don't know. It's about 30 minutes outside of Seattle. At the time, the airport was, I think, SeaTac Airport. Was that the name of it?
Yeah, SeaTac was there,
okay.
Right?
And so, my Uncle Lo, it was an interracial marriage. My Uncle Lo was white. He picks me up at the airport. I'm so excited to be there. I didn't realize all the bags look alike, Rod. I picked up the wrong bag. We drive 40 minutes to get back to Edmonds. The first time I came out there, they lived in Linwood, which is these are suburbs, okay. Right? They're suburbs around Seattle. So very nice to affluent communities. And see, it was different because you went to an experience where there were kids of color. For me, it was just the opposite. Basically, when it came to the school and black students, it was me, myself, and I. I'm only joking about that. It was me and my cousin, and she was a cheerleader, and I was on the football team. And you see, but it was different for me because when you're on the football team, you're like a local star. And so here I come from New York City, and the newspapers start writing about me, the local paper. Right?
Oh, okay.
And they're saying all these great things about me playing football, but then my world came crashing down real fast, Rod. So the truth is I ended up out there because I was screwing up big time here in New York City.
Years, what
oh God.
What year,
it was in the late 70s. The late 70s.
I know, but were you a junior? Were you a sophomore? Or what?
When I went out there, I was going into my senior year to play football.
Wow. See,
and
I was there. I was there 7th and 8th and 9th, and then I moved back to Billings, Montana, where my older brother was, to finish high school as a.
I'd love to go to Montana. I've never been there.
I was the only kid in my history class that didn't have black hair.
Wow. Well, it's funny because for me, Rod, I had never experienced a pep rally. None of that stuff. I had never been to the parties. That's all I can say.
So when you were in New York, you weren't around white kids?
You know, when I was in New York City, I was around, I'd say 90% to 95% black kids. But see, here was the problem.
You had the opposite experience that I had.
Yes.
I mean,
but the problem was in New York City, the problem in New York City was that, and pardon me for a second here, Rod, was that, and I'm not proud of this, but in New York City, you only had to pass 2 classes to play football or basketball. And gym was one of those 2 classes. And I basically failed everything else and didn't care. It's not that I didn't have the smarts. It's just that there were no expectations. I knew I was a football player. And as long as I passed those 2 classes, you know, we had a brand new AstroTurf football field at Kennedy High School. I didn't know that sometimes when you're tackled on AstroTurf, it burns your skin, almost like a burn. That happened many times. But we had and Kennedy went on to win the citywide championship. And so I'm not proud of it, but I went to 5 different high schools. People didn't know what was in my background, the bad things in my background. Started out at Cardinal Hayes to play football. Family couldn't afford the monthly tuition. Went to DeWitt Clinton. Was scared to death at DeWitt Clinton. There were no girls at Cardinal Hayes or DeWitt Clinton. Oh, what an awful experience when you can't see any girls. Oh, you start looking at the librarian, seriously, in different ways. A conservative, heavyset librarian, you start saying to yourself, oh, she's a good-looking woman. But anyway, so at DeWitt Clinton, it was almost like a mini jail. To go into the staircase, it was like you were taking your life into your own hands. My family had to get me out of there. My aunt, who's now on her last leg, she's dying. She's almost at the end. But she's a spunky old lady, and she's fighting back. She called up the principal. She didn't believe in rules. And the principal's like, we're sorry that this is the school he's zoned for. She's like, he is not staying here. He is getting out of this jungle. You are transferring him to Kennedy High School. I got to Kennedy High School. Kennedy High School was, it was still black and white. Very good school at the time, Riverdale. From Kennedy, thank you for the call, Rod. From Kennedy, that's when I went out to Seattle, Washington, and in my senior year. And I had never experienced football like that, right? So all I can say is being invited over to the houses of the cheerleaders when they would have their parties, and it was just like the movies. You would get a special greeting. Don't laugh, Tony. That's all I can say. You would get a special hello from some of the cheerleaders. They would welcome you to the team. And so I was considered one of the stars of the team. So, but then reality slapped me in the face, right? Because in New York City, all you had to do was pass 2 classes to qualify to play ball. And Seattle, Washington, if you failed 2 classes, you couldn't play. So no matter how good I was, for the first 3 games, Tony, I could not get on the field. The school district, and I thought I was going to commit suicide. The school district, they hired a lawyer to school to get me to play. right? I was that good to get me to play, and they lost the appeal, and I had to sit out the first 2 games, and it was a humble experience because I didn't want to play, and I had to show up to practice every day, but I couldn't play in the game. Now, why were you laughing at me, Tony?
Look, at least the bright side is it made you get your act together so you can excel to become the person that you are now.
That's true.
Now,
That's true.
And I understand being a star athlete and then the fringe benefits of the cheerleaders at the parties.
The special hellos.
You're like, hey.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
The special private hellos. That's all I can say.
You're the big athlete coming from the
and
Bronx,
it was there
from New York City.
From New York City.
3,000 miles away.
Of welcoming you to the town and being a very special, nice hello.
It was fresh
private
meat.
Hello.
Yeah, you were fresh meat, man. You had a good time at those parties. The red light specials.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. And it was just like in the movies.
Yeah, but
when you're the star football players.
Yes, but look at the bright side. That humbled you to get your act together, and it made you realize, this is not a game. You have to focus. You have,
right.
If you don't have good grades, you don't play.
You're right.
No pass, no play.
Because at the time there was talk of me going on to play for the University of Washington, and they insulted me. They said, you can come on as a walk-on, but that's the best we can do. And I was like, a walk-on? You've got to be out of your mind.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a walk-on. I either get a full scholarship or that's it. They said, we'll give you a walk-on shot. That's all we're going to do for you.
But just imagine if you'd have got a scholarship to Washington, those parties that you dealt with in high school. Upper level, man. Okay, talk about first class.
Well, thank you, Tony. Let's go to line 2. Let's see if Walter can be positive rather than negative this morning. Go right ahead, Walter. What's on your mind?
Yeah. I have only the best wishes for the mayor, Mr. Giuliani. I want you to know that I respect the former mayor, and even though I have many friends who we may have political disagreements in recent years about the former mayor, but today they don't matter. And I want to just say that because it's easy to have political opinions, but any objective observer knows that Mr. Giuliani got results. And I respect him for that, and I hope he gets better.
Well, that's very nice of you, Walter. Thank you for that comment. Folks, we're taking your telephone calls. I got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to Robert in Philly, Norman in Brooklyn, Patrick in Indiana. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And so I see that Mike Tyson has the same experience with President Trump that I have. Mike Tyson, the legendary boxer, says we've never seen any president like this before. My whole experience with President Trump is that he's just a genuine, real person. If he's got your back, he's with you 100%. That's why I'm for him 100%. That's from the words of Mike Tyson. And to my Democrat elected friends, you got a problem with Trump, go tell that to Mike Tyson. Good luck with that. Let's see how well that works out for you. Let's go to Robert, line 3 in Philadelphia. Good morning, Robert. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. As always, it's great to talk to you, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend.
Well, thank you.
The first thing I wanted to say is I really hope that Mayor Giuliani pulls through. Not only was he an amazing prosecutor, not only was he the last great mayor of New York City, I would say he's the last great mayor of any big city over the last 50, 60, 70 years. I mean, he's an institution, and I hope he comes through, But I was calling about Greg. He mentioned something about, first of all, he sounds very familiar to me, Dom. He sounds like another caller, and he asks the same questions, the types of questions that the other callers is. I think the toned-down voice in the boom shakalaka is a cover, but that's just my opinion. Now, he's right that Jimmy Kimmel, according to the government, has the right to say what he said, okay? It's despicable, but with free speech and with any freedom comes two things: accountability and responsibility. And if your employer or your audience or anybody that could be construed as your boss sees that as detrimental to his business, okay, that's where your quote-unquote free speech, it's still there, but now you're being held accountable for it. And that's the difference. Nobody's being held accountable. You touched on it before, and I also wanted to say that I think the lovely DMS nailed it perfectly with her tweet. And
Yes,
I really appreciate the time, Dominic.
And thank you, Robert. Let's go to Norman in Brooklyn. Norman, what's on your mind?
Dominic, okay. Yeah, first of all, I of course want to wish Mayor Giuliani a full and speedy recovery. I've lived in New York my whole life, 62 years. I live in the same house. I voted for Mayor Giuliani twice, or maybe three times, at least twice. And but I started to really during COVID is when I really began to lose hope in a lot of things. And I was calling the radio station during that time. I mean, Blaze could tell you I was big with the rallies, and I was calling you too, your show too. Anyway, I remember one thing I asked Mayor Giuliani. I asked him, I said, because every place I went to work was closed. I couldn't work. My clients were all scared of me or scared of each other.
No, I hear you, Norman. Norman, you got to speed it up. I'm almost out of time.
Speed it up. I asked Mayor Giuliani. I asked him if we would get to a time in the future when we could shake each other's hand and not wear a mask and not be afraid of each other. And he said to me, yes, it might take some time, but it's going to happen. And it did. So that's it.
You're correct.
I love
you're correct,
the man.
Norman, and it did happen. And thank you for the well wishes for Mayor Giuliani. You see, folks, that's a caller of class, unlike some of these fools. Let's go to Jackie, line 2, Central New Jersey. Jackie, good morning. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. Yes, God bless Rudy Giuliani, and I'm praying for his full recovery, and he's a hero. I wanted to go back to the topic. You were talking about, you take a call occasionally from an idiot, and then, you feel like you, sort of have to defend that decision, or you berate yourself a little bit like, well, why did I do it? You don't have to explain yourself. Like, okay, and I really, really identify with you because I'm a college professor, and I spend all day, every day, I am surrounded by sick, self-righteous people. It's like a cauldron of sickness, as you can imagine, on a college campus. They're mean-spirited, they're ignorant, they're cruel, they're hateful human beings. They hear the same Marxist spewing garbage all the time. It's, very, very, very poorly camouflaged. And the thing is, just like you, I can smell it a mile away. I know exactly, what's coming in my direction. But the question is not who are these stupid idiot people. The question is, who do I want to be?
Who do you want to be? Hey, Jackie, you got to call the program again. You and Sherman, Patrick in Indiana. But, Jackie, I want to hear from you in the future. It's just that we're completely out of time, Madam College Professor. Folks, I made it through the program. Thank God. I'm back 3 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, Mayor Giuliani will pull through yet again. I'll see you at 3 p.m.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Listen to this podcast now
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.